I just want to start by thanking the Rams organization, the Kroenke family, Kevin Demoff, Tony Pastores, Les Snead. It's a first-class organization I've had an honor to be a part of for the last 7 years, and I can't wait to continue the relationship with you guys. I want to thank Sean McVay, one of my best friends in life over the last 20 years, someone who's always believed in me, and your belief in me has instilled in me to be the best version of myself each and every day and given me that confidence. I want to thank Wade Phillips, Brandon Staley, and Raheem Morris, 3D coordinators that I worked under here with the Rams. Each of you guys did it in your own way, and I learned so much from working under you and watching how you guys went about your daily process and your relationship with the players and the coaches, and I'm going to implement that going forward. I want to thank all the players that I've coached over the years. I think back to my first year as a position coach, having my own room with Dante Fowler, Clay Matthews, Obo, Sampson, those guys, all the way to last year with Ernest Jones, Troy Reeder, Christian Roseboom, Jake Hummel. The reason I'm in coaching is because of the relationships with the players, and that's what it will continue to be going forward. And last, I want to thank my family, my wife Jen, who's at home with our 2 babies, Avery and Bryce, and also my parents, Dave and Leslie. Without your support, I wouldn't be in this position today. With that, I'll take your questions.
All right, we'll start with you, Stu.
Hey, Chris, first of all, congratulations on the new role.
Thanks, Stu.
And thanks for making the time this morning. When you were informed that, you were being put in this position, what was your reaction?
It's a great question. I was elated. It just felt like a lot of the times all the hard work you put in and the journey. And, I've always been someone, Stu, that I'm just so focused on my role. And, obviously I've had a lot of different roles within this organization and just so focused on doing a great job because all you want to do is give the players you coach and put them in the best position to succeed. And, I just want to continue that going forward. But you just think about the journey of starting out as a GA at Ball State, at Indiana, all the guys you've coached with and worked with over the years, and the fact to be put in this position, it's a role I take extremely seriously, and I can't wait to get rolling.
And you mentioned having all of those different roles since you've been on staff. How will that help you as you take on this new role with everything that you're going to be asked to do? Being able to have that understanding of basically every level of the defense.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it organically happened just kind of over the years. I think I alluded to Sean's belief in me earlier, and the ability to move around and work with all those spots and just kind of some of the nuances of each position. I think when you're coaching, some stuff you don't know until you actually get in there and coach a specific position. So to be able to know some of the problems that the coaches have to work through. To work with the coaches on those problems and, kind of become a problem solver for the players and become a resource for the players, as all those experiences of coaching those positions are stuff I'll draw back on.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu.
Adam?
Hey, Chris. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You mentioned Wade and Brandon and Raheem. What would you say are some of the things that you took from your experiences working with them that will help you in this position?
Yeah, they all were obviously unique and coached it and did it their way. I think working under Wade Phillips, he's a legend, and his track record speaks for himself. And I think with him, he always said that listening is a skill, and he let his coaches coach. And Sean always says about Wade, the genius was in the simplicity. He let his coaches coach, and the players knew exactly what they were supposed to do, and that allowed them to go out to play at their, at the best of their ability. With Brandon, when he got here, I just loved how innovative he was. I loved how he was always hungry to learn. He was always watching different stuff. He knew everything that was going on around the league, and he always wanted to get better. And then with Raheem, to me, it's all about the relationships. And I think everyone in this building has a special relationship with Raheem. And seeing the way he goes about the joy in the daily process, of how he goes about his work. And I think, those are, the main things that stick out for each of those guys.
Do you anticipate sticking with the same base scheme this coming season?
I think that's a work in progress. There'll definitely be elements to it. I think we'll use a lot of the same structures, the same 3-4 structure and some of the same core beliefs. But it's all about the players. So we're going to do whatever the players can execute at a high level, where they can go out and play fast and play confidence, and whatever the offense gives us, we'll be able to have answers to, and they can go be the best versions of themselves.
What did you learn, when you got your opportunities during the preseason to call the defense, and what will the process look like between now and the preseason for you in terms of getting ready for having that responsibility full time?
Yeah, I thank Raheem for having that experience, and in order to get experience at something, you obviously have to do it, and there's always going to be ups and downs being a first-time play caller. And I think just from having that preseason stuff, there's I call it like some of the gray downs, where some of the stuff, it's not quite black and white, and you got to be decisive with it. And you always got to be thinking to play ahead. You always got to be thinking to drive ahead, and just kind of getting reps at that. Always be thankful to Raheem for that.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Jordan.
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking the time with us this morning.
Hey, Jordan.
Just curious, you mentioned such strong identity that you learned from Wade and Brandon and Rob, but wondering what your own defensive identity is, what your own defensive philosophy is, and how you want that identity to manifest as a coordinator.
Yeah, my defensive philosophy is it's about the players. And it goes back to, I remember somebody asked my grandpa this question, how has the game changed since he was coaching? He had been retired for a bunch of years now at this point. And to me, it's a simple game. It's relentless pursuit of the ball. It's getting off blocks. It's tackling, and it's taking the ball away. And defense hasn't changed over the course of time. And that's what this defense is going to be about. Now, we do want to keep an element where we want to have an identity, but we also want to have an element of unpredictability where we want to keep the offense guessing. But that's all going to be within the realm of having our players, whatever our players can execute at the highest level, and what they do best. It's always going to be about the players, and they are what is going to make this thing go.
Know that back in the days when you were talking to Sean about bringing in Brandon and then carrying that forward with Raheem, shape-shifting and being matchup fluid, and that type of ability to assert against opponents and against offenses was such an important point of conversation among you guys.
Sure.
How do you balance that as a coordinator, knowing you want that to be a part of your identity, as you just said, while also continuing to develop, balancing that development aspect that you guys it's very real for you guys right now, where you're at with this defense?
No doubt. And it is what the players could learn and what the players know. I think trying to teach conceptually on the back end, we're teaching techniques to across everybody the same. I think that would help out a lot. But also you got to have smart guys that can handle it. And we were fortunate in 2020 and really over the last 3 or 4 years where we've had those types of players. And, I think that obviously as we go through free agency and the draft and bringing our own guys back, we'll see what the type of team we have and what we can execute at a high level. And, it's got to be something. Offenses present so many issues these days that, when you call defense, they have to be able we have to be confident to adjust that defense to whatever the offense presents. And that's what we're going to look to do. And, as we build this scheme here this offseason.
And then finally for me, know that over the last couple of years, especially, you've been kind of behind the scenes in that talent identification process as well.
Mm-hmm.
That continuity, like knowing what types of players this group is looking for and understanding what you want to do with them. How do you kind of carry that forward and continue that as a coordinator versus as a position coach? Yeah,
I think it's just alignment with the position coaches. And, I think it's the types of guys we want. And, Sean hits that in our team meeting. We want guys with great football character. We want guys with physical and mental toughness. We want guys that when we call their college coaches and all the people that worked with them in college and in high school and stuff like that, they were team captains. there were guys that the coaches just sing their praises. And, all those types of things we take into account. And, when Sean defines, what is a Ram, we want to bring those guys, that we don't just develop them here. We want to onboard those types of players so they just fit seamlessly in the culture, just like we did with obviously last year with the Kobe Turner, with the Byron Young, certain guys like that. We want to continue to bring in guys like that going forward.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Sarah?
Hey, Chris. Thanks for doing this today.
Hey, Sarah.
You've talked a lot about players. I know this is obviously not a new team for you, but when you look at the roster, what excites you about the group you're going to work with?
It's just a bunch of young and hungry guys. Quentin Lake was a guy I've had the ability to, be in the position room with him, coaching DBs his rookie year when he was injured. You got Russ Yeast back there. You got Kobe Turner. You got Byron Young. You got Bobby Brown. You got a bunch of guys that have experience last year. Obviously, you got Ernest Jones. Somebody who is really special to me, and somebody that I can't wait to continue work with. And calling in the plays to him will be something in practice and games will be really fun to do. So it's just a bunch of guys that love football, and when guys that love football and want to get better, and when you have a bunch of coaches that all they're focused on is trying to get, what is the best way we can get these guys to play their best. And when the players understand that, and you have great relationships with them, we can go a long way.
And what did you learn about having such a young, especially on the defense side of balls, having such a young team last year?
How important, it is for the coaches to be aligned. I think last year, our coaching staff, and it started with Sean and obviously to Raheem, where we were so aligned in our beliefs, and whether it's myself working with Aubrey and Chris Beek in the back end, and us being aligned with whatever our communication was amongst the secondary and the linebackers, and then working with Eric Henderson and AC Carter, with the D-line adjustments and the front adjustments, and just being kind of aligned and clear in everything that we expected with every defense. And I think we had a great offseason last year, and that led to a great training camp, and I think it all starts just a daily process. You're so focused on the process that we're not even worried about the results, not worried about the games. We're just focused on, today and right now, and just being present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You?
Hey, Chris, congratulations. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Hey, you have known Sean for so long. Can you kind of take us through what the interview process is for, someone like you who has that long-standing relationship? Is it a formal sit-down, or how'd that go? If you could describe it for us.
Yeah, he kind of laid out some of the things that he wanted to discuss in the interview. And so we were able to kind of get some of those things ready, and it wasn't just me and Sean. There were some other people in there, and and that really started the discussion of just talking football, and what the defensive philosophy was, what the different front structures we wanted to utilize, what are the core coverage concepts we want to do going forward. How do we want to coach tackling? How do we want to teach takeaways? A lot of different things like that you would have in a standard interview. For a defense coordinator position. I wouldn't say it was any different, just because, me and Sean are so close. I think we could separate that when it came to the interview.
And did you end up interviewing in Miami, or were you hired before you did that interview?
No, I did. I spent a day down in Miami, spent a day with Mike McDaniels, and it was a good time. Down there. It was really good to spend time with him. But then, pretty soon after that was when came to the agreement with the Rams.
Have you had the opportunity since being named coordinator to speak with Aaron Donald? And if you have, what was that conversation like? And if you haven't, when would you anticipate talking to him?
I haven't yet. Obviously, I have a great relationship with Aaron Donald. I've been here. I've been in the D-line and the rush. I've run some rush plan meetings. Obviously, with him, been with him since 2017. But look forward to reaching out to him and figuring out the best way for him to go forward and get the most out of him as we continue to build this.
And then finally, from me, you mentioned your grandfather. how do you think? I mean, I guess this is kind of a rhetorical question, but what do you think he'd think of this, of you, ascending to this into this spot?
I think he'd be proud. I'd like to think he would think I did it the right way. I've always been someone that's just so focused on the task at hand and your specific job at that time that, I'm never really looking at the next job or what's going to come next or what's going to happen next year. I just focus on building relationships with the coaches and the players, working as hard as I can to, provide clarity for the players so that they can play their best and, working in continuity with the coaches. And, I'd like to think he'd be proud. And, a lot of the lessons I learned from him, the discipline, the accountability that you have, that you show to your players by being prepared, by, leaving no stone unturned in your preparation, so that they go out and they can feel confident when they take the field. And so, I'd like to think he's looking down right now proud.
Thanks very much. Congrats again.
Thanks, Gary.
Beecham?
Building on what Gary just asked, what you were still a kid when your dad and your grandpa both got out of the NFL, but what did you learn from, both that time and later talking to your dad, talking to your grandpa about what it takes to be a successful leader of professional players, and if you can sum up just briefly what that means.
Yeah, all the stories you hear about my grandpa, and just like you said, it wasn't like I was living in Cincinnati when my grandpa retired from the Dolphins. And but all this, you just hear so many stories of some of the former players that go back and how tough he was on them. And then it's like you go back and they just, the relationship that he had with them because they knew, he had their best in mind. And I think it's just the accountability that he put on himself to try to get them to play their best. And then with my dad, it's the discipline. It's the discipline of how you go about your daily process. And my dad's a routine-oriented guy, and I'd like to think I'm the same way. You come up with a plan for the day, you execute that plan to the best of your ability, and you move on to that next day. And, that's really what I've learned from them. And, it's just been an honor to be a part of, family and something that I take a lot of pride in.
What's it been like for you being a Shula in coaching? I mean, everybody meets you, sees your name, and associated it with the success that comes behind it. What's it been like for you trying to establish yourself and your own identity and all that stuff with that name?
It's something that when I was a young coach, I was almost a little embarrassed about because I didn't want people to think, I got into certain positions because of the last name. So I think that was some of the motivation. I always had a little chip on my shoulder, to kind of work extra hard to show that, I earned whatever role I got or whatever. And, and then it's kind of evolved into something where now it's like it's so cool to, where you go and travel around and play different games and see different coaches or, different people that work in media and stuff like that dealt with my grandpa and just all the nice things that they say and the stories that they tell and all that type of stuff. And, so it's something that, initially it started out I was a little bit reluctant to kind of, I might not say my last name when I introduce myself to now it's something I'm extremely proud of. And, I take a lot of pride in just because of, not only my dad and my grandpa, but my uncle as well, and the character that they have and the types of coaches that they were and the types of human beings that they were. It's something that, I'm very proud of.
Thanks, Chris. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Kurt?
Hey, Chris, a heartfelt congratulations as well.
Thank you.
I'm very curious when in the offseason, this elevated position going into free agency in the draft, how will that change your approach to the offseason? Yeah,
I mean, obviously, it's just a different role. You're not looking at a specific position in the draft. You're looking at all positions. You're coaching all your coaches. You're tied into everything. You're really setting the tone of each day. How we want to go about attacking, what we want to do scheme-wise. What we want to do. What types of players we want to onboard. Who do we need? What are our needs? Evaluating our current roster. So, I mean, there's just so many things. Where I can't wait to attack, and can't wait to just start this journey going forward. But it is a different role, and then something I take very seriously.
And if you could, we all know that obviously your background with Sean starting at Miami of Ohio to where you are now, why has it worked? Because in a lot of situations, it won't work to work under a good friend.
Yeah, I think, our philosophies have always been aligned and our passions have always been aligned. And, we love football. And that's always been something that, we've always kind of shared, from when we were freshmen together at Miami, Ohio. But we also loved working hard and we loved the process behind it. So we always kind of shared that. And then, I think more importantly than that is, we love investing in the relationships, whether it's with the coaches, with the players, with our friends. We understand that, relationships in life, character and relationships in life are, as going forward, you're not necessarily might not remember the wins and losses and all that type of stuff, but your character that you had and the relationships that you develop are the things that'll last. And I think we've always been aligned in those beliefs. And Sean doesn't necessarily want perfection. Sean wants intentfulness. He wants whys. He wants you to work hard. He wants you to have great character. And I think when the intent is pure behind what you're doing, it's going to work. And there's obviously going to be ups and downs. And that's not to say that me and Sean have never had a disagreement. We've never had an argument. Of course, that's not the case. But, I think the intent behind what each of us want is pure. And, that's why we've been able to continue this relationship, as great friends and, working together, coaching together.
Happy for you and your family. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we'll wrap up with you again, Jordan.
Thanks, Chris. Just a couple very quick housekeeping questions. Wondering where you guys are at with D-line coach. It was reported a couple days ago that Giff Smith is the hire, and what did you see in him, if so?
Yeah, we're still working through that, Jordan. Something that obviously the types of coaches we want to bring are going to be coaches that fit in great with the staff. So they first have to be great people, and then we want to bring in coaches that have great experience. Not just something that we've always thought it was. Coaches leaving here, but we can have a benefit of guys having some different experiences. It kind of brings a little different perspective. Of something of us, something to us to kind of compare to and see if it fits in with the philosophy of what we do here as the Rams. But still working through filling out the coaching staff.
Thanks. And then very quickly, are you going to call from up top or down on the field?
That's a great question. My anticipation is probably down on the field, but I had never called it from up top before. But that is something we'll definitely look into, and obviously that's a long way away. And, but it's something I'll definitely consider and definitely look into. And, if Ernest hears it better and if that's the best way to get the players playing the best, then I'll do whatever it is to make these guys play their best. So I'm open to both.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.